if I'm advising Jerron Boots Ennis, or I even had his ear for a minute, I would say, hey man, you need to fight Keith Thurman, and you need to fight Keith Thurman now. The issue Boots is going to run into is that, one, there are no rules that say the other champions have to fight you. And there are also no rules that say while you have a belt, you can just go out and get another one. So if Terrence Crawford does move up and they decide to vacate all these belts and guys get their first crack at a belt, they don't have to then turn around and sacrifice themselves to Jerron Boots Ennis. In my opinion, Jerron has, Boots has 3 decent fights at 147 right now. Other than that, I mean, he could try to beat up Crawford and Errol Spence's former opponents. But again, they're going to be in other sanctioning bodies, and they could take other cracks at other titles without ever fighting Boots. So you got Keith Thurman, you got Stanionis, and probably Alexis Rocha. Like, those are probably the 3 most competitive fights I see for Boots. It's going to be very tough to build a name without having those marquee matchups. And right now, Keith Thurman provides something. You get the old crafty veteran in the ring. You can't take a punch. Keep your chin down. You'll be okay. You knock out Mario Barrios, he shouldn't be knocking you out. Right? Go ahead and gain that popularity. Go ahead and get your belt. Make a couple title defenses. But even if he moves to 154, you have to understand, everybody we know at 154, for the most part, are going to be gone. Even at 154, he's going to be fighting guys like Lubin. Right? Because the other champions, the scarier he look, that decreases his opportunity to face another champion. Right? The scarier you look, that lessens your chance of unifying. They don't have to fight you. There's no rules in that. We've seen what happened to Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford had that WBO forever, and that was it. So Boots is going to find himself in that position, and I don't know if he can garner that kind of popularity without having those matchups. Because like I said before, the matchups is what make the stars. You know, there are very few guys that are just a star in their own right. And I don't know if the boxing public is going to keep tuning in to Boots' one-sided ass whoopings of guys like Brian Norman and Quentin Randall. You know, so it's going to be very difficult. Just given the age gap. Because I'm just looking at it like Avenesian, late 30s, you know. Mean Machine, pushing it. You know, even Ugas, 37. So even like the opponents of Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, even these guys are pretty much on their way out of boxing. So it's going to be very difficult to build a name and a resume at 147. And again, you go to 154, it's more of the same. There are not too many guys in his age bracket that he can really build a name off of. And Keith Thurman may be his only opportunity to get that caliber of fighter on his resume. So I'm fighting Keith. I'm fighting him tomorrow. And I just, you know, whatever, name your price. Name your price, I'll pay it at this point. And I also want to add, I'm only dealing in reality. I'm only dealing in the fact that Terrence Crawford already said he's moving to 154 to fight Errol Spence. And Errol Spence is going to follow him. So I know it would be more ideal for him to get a Crawford or a Spence. But the reality is he's not getting those fights. So Keith Thurman is the best option for Boots dealing with reality and not fantasy. I'm out.